Oh, snap!
The world is finally waking up to the crap that's baked into and sprayed on kibble dog food. No longer can commercial pet food manufacturers fool us with pretty pictures and false promises. This is the raw dog food truth. The view and opinions expressed on this podcast are not intended to replace medical advice. Before starting any raw diet, do research, ask lots of questions, and consult your vet.
Well, hello, raw feeders. I'm DeDe Murcer-Moffett, CEO of Raw Dog Food and Company, where your pet's health is our business. And we're friends like my friend, Dr. Judy Jasek. She would let friends feed kibble. But do you let friends feed farmer's dog or cooked food?
No way. No way, y'all.
Why not? Why not? Come on. Not because you're just my friend and because, you're pretty.
Because DeDe will get mad at me if I do.
Oh, right. I'm a scary, scary person.
You're a scary person with your pasta ears.
I know. If you can't see the video, this is. There we go. Very cute for Halloween.
I love it. I love it.
So you sent me this. Okay, let me back up. First of all, this Facebook group kind of rant on Farmer's Dog and Nom Nom and Just Food for Dogs, I think it's pretty justified in my book because we do see UTIs. We see a lot of UTIs and problems coming from that food. And the question is, why would we be seeing that? So I'm going to ask you, first of all, they're ranting and raving about these very, very popular private equity dog foods. Okay, let me just say that again, guys. These are dog foods created from a company that said, man, the bandwagon, we got to get on the bandwagon. And we can tell a really good story because it's all about the story, right? And I'm telling you, Farmer's Dog has the best commercials and they got the best stories. Whose stories are those? Those are our stories. That's the raw food industry story that they stole. Big bunch of stinking stealers, but they stole it. Okay. Not the best food. Tell us why it's not the best food, Dr. Jasek.
Well, it's not the best food because it's got a lot of carbs in it. I say no starches. So fundamentally, I think the reason you're seeing like lots of UTIs and other problems is because you got all the starch in there, which breaks down to sugar, which causes inflammation. And it's quote unquote balanced with synthetic nutrients, which is kind of one of the points they're making in this Facebook post where they supposedly found this brand new type of bladder stone. And I don't know what of any of this is true. I found it interesting in a couple of points. One, I found it kind of interesting that they're calling out these big companies because it seems like those have been the companies that have been allowed to get really big, and advertise. So because I think that a lot of these things that come out are BS, why are they naming these companies? I would think they'd be coming after like the small raw companies because that's who they want to get rid of. They want to let these private equity companies grow, I would think. So I thought it was interesting that they called them out, but they did mention this one particular nutrient, the choline,
bitrate.
Choline bitrate was responsible for forming these stones. So it's like, well, just don't feed synthetic nutrients, which is what we recommend all the time. You don't got to worry about, which goes back to the benefits of raw feeding like we recommend. So it just made me wonder, like, what's really the angle here? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I don't know, because this actually was written by the Golden Retriever Club. Okay. And they're talking about that. But then it's the University of Minnesota College of Veterinary Medicine Urolith Center that supposedly discovered this new urinary stone and the likely cause. And they are saying that it's due to these added supplements. And I don't know. I don't know what, I mean, I've, look, very seldom do we see veterinarians on our side of pet health, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know what the angle is. I don't think we're going to know for a while. I mean, maybe I doubt that this group is a holistic veterinarian. Did you happen to see him at your conference? Your
No.
holistic veterinarian? No, you didn't. No. Okay.
No, did not see them there.
But you did have, who was the lady that was doing the talk that basically said, let's get back to basics. Let's stop doing all this nonsense. Who was that?
PJ Broadfoot. Dr. Broadfoot is a veterinarian who I've been sitting in her lectures for 20, 30 years, a long time. She used to put on some weekend seminar things in the Denver area. She was a consultant with a company that made homeopathic remedies. And so they would put on these seminars and stuff. Anyway, I've had lots of respect for her for a lot of years. She actually was the keynote speaker at the conference this year. So the whole conference kind of honored her. But anyway, she had a whole day talk on the microbiome. And first of all, she talked about, which we knew this, but it's good to hear how bad the drugs really are for the microbiome, because it's not good for the pets, but it explains a lot. Like, why is it so hard to clear up these itchy skin dogs? Well, because they've been on 12 rounds of antibiotics, and every pain medication, pretty much any drug, is going to have an adverse effect on the microbiome by killing off some of the beneficial bacteria. So the bottom line is you got to feed the microbiome that you want to grow. So what's the best way to do that? She's like, fresh raw food. And she was big in natural ferments. And we've kind of switched to kind of recommending that. When people say, well, what probiotic do you recommend? They're like, well, I'd get some, sauerkraut or kimchi or raw fermented dairy or something like that. So you're at least feeding a live culture.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about how individual it is. Like, every pet's different. And she doesn't test. I loved this too. She does not do the animal biome or legacy biome. She does not do the tests where they go in and they see, well, what bacteria are in the gut. She's like, they pretty much need to be supplemented anyway, because most dogs have had lots of drugs and maybe haven't been on the best diet. So just feed them the ferments. They're going to need them anyway. And you could have 10,000 species of bacteria in the gut, and you're testing for 20. So what does that really mean? So, and I've thought that for a long time too, that don't spend hundreds of dollars on doing this testing. Just work on correcting the diet, doing the appropriate diet, adding in some natural ferments for nature. And this also includes just letting dogs get out in nature and dig in the dirt. They're going to get a lot of, bacteria that way. Get them out of the concrete jungle and out where they can really be exposed to nature. So I thought that was really refreshing. She wasn't pushing a bunch of supplements that, we see a lot. Lectures are, designed to sometimes sell stuff. Well, you just do this and this and this. She wasn't like that. It was whole food stuff, but a lot of good science behind it. I think there was one study that in cats, one course of clindamycin, which is an antibiotic used a lot for dental disease. I don't know exactly how they did this study, but the results were disrupted the microbiome for 600 days. So almost 2 years.
Wow.
So when you look at these pets that are on course after course after course, and then they have a hard time transitioning to raw. Well, that's why it's not the raw, it's that their guts are so screwed up.
Yeah, I was talking.
Apical is another one that really damaged the microbiome. Anyway,
Well, think about this. You got crappy food, and then you got a gut that doesn't work, and you got the itchies. Okay. So now we're going to get on some antibiotic, because you must have some sort of bacteria in there. Right. Now we got bad food. We got antibiotics. It's going to disrupt the gut. Then we still got the itchies. Now we're going to Apoquel. Oh my God, Dr. Jasek, I don't know how you ever get the pet's body on the right ship, turn the ship around. I mean, and then I put my dog on raw and it wasn't totally healed in 2 weeks. It's like, well, I'm not Jesus.
Right.
Well, I'm not Jesus. I can't, do these incredible miracles for you, but I can tell you that I have been doing this for 25 years. And in our body of work, I've been feeding raw for 25 years, and our body of work over the last 10 years, over the last decade, we've seen massive changes in the pet's health. I was talking to somebody today who said, my cat's got all types of gut issues. And I said, I promise you it's the food.
Yeah.
And this morning I went out to walk Lozzie, and I looked down, and some dog had done a really big poop on my lawn, and they didn't pick it up. So I had to pick it up. And it was the biggest, blackest, runniest kibble poop ever. And I wanted to say, who was that dog? That dog needs some help.
Needs to get that dog some raw food.
It was awful. I was like, who sees their dog's poop like that and thinks that's okay?
Yeah. It's been normalized. People aren't taught to know. People think that there's something wrong. Like when, us people like that we've helped transition to raw, how's dogs poop? Well, I don't know. They're kind of strange. They're like small and formed and a little dry, and they're kind of white. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what you want. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, because they're used to seeing these big, ginormous poops. I talked to a client the other day that had been an ongoing client, and she was on that spot and tango, I think that one. And one other one. Oh, a new one I hadn't heard of. Maeve. It's Maeve. They're always coming out with new ones. So I looked up both of those, and like the second ingredient was like potato. And she's like, my dog's poops. Like her dog, she was having trouble actually getting her dog to gain weight. And the dog's poops are really big. I'm like, yeah, because they're pooping out all that potato. Like we got to get them on the meat-based diet so that they're actually getting the calories. And she was feeding amounts based on calories. So I was like, well, we need those calories to you're feeding to be meat, that they're meant to eat. But it's normalized. That's what people are used to seeing. And so they think dogs are supposed to be overweight and arthritic and have big giant poops and get cancer when they're.
And they have no idea. I have no idea how they got cancer. Okay. Alrighty then. Yeah. And then another girl that I was talking to, she also has cats, and unwell. They were unwell. But she said to me, I thought this was funny. She said, but I just, I think they also had dogs. And she said, but, I know I need to get my dog on a better food, and I love them. They're the love of my life. She said, but if I give them raw chicken and they eat it out in the grass in the backyard, for the life of me, I wouldn't feel good about all that bacteria that's leaving in my yard.
Oh, gosh.
I was like, do what now? I didn't say it. I didn't even, because that was like I could just tell that was going to be a very long conversation. Yeah. But I was just like, that's worse than your dog's poop. The poop, yeah. I mean, the poop I saw today in my yard. Number one, I would have liked to have known who's not carrying a bag. Okay.
Yeah, right. Well, they should have picked it up regardless of the size.
Big crappy poops out of my yard. But number two, I should leave a card. I should have put a card right in the poop and just said, call me, like
clearly your dog needs help. Clearly your dog's poop needs help.
Funny.
With a little picture of a pile of raw poop or raw fed poop, and like, this is what your dog's poop should look like.
Yeah. Call me. You don't have a problem. Yeah. So anyway, hey, on another front, recalls are back in the raw dog food world. And I think, you did a Substack not too long ago about what recalls mean. And, quite frankly, folks, they mean nothing. I mean, what we see on the inside and what we do know is this is a push. This is a push to annihilate all pure raw food. Mm-hmm. They want it all bacteria free. They wanted all HPP, just like, our food in the grocery stores, right? Can we get raw milk? No. That sort of thing. They want it, and it doesn't even have anything to do with the dogs, right? It doesn't have anything to do with the dog's health. They're looking at it from the people side.
Right.
And you're like, okay, so it really does make me wonder, Dr. Jasek, about the fish, about the chicken, and about the meat that is in our grocery stores that we think as humans that it's, so fresh, and we think that it's great. And you got to wonder, what are they doing? Are they doing a bacteria-free type food, adulterating our food that we think is fresh in the grocery stores?
Yeah. Well, I've heard that food has way more bacteria than like a raw food, like in a pet food plant, because you guys are so heavily scrutinized that you have to be really careful. Mm-hmm. Those in the grocery store, they're assuming that it's going to be cooked. And so they actually allow more bacteria there. So
I mean, we don't really know what's going on with our food supply.
We don't, but they will unquestionably target the industries that they want to target. Like they've continually targeted raw milk. Like if people want to drink raw milk, like who cares? Or that you can't like legally, Joel Salatin talks about this a lot. This is one of his big rants, is that people should be able to sell like meat to their neighbors. Like you can't raise a chicken, butcher a chicken and sell the parts to your neighbor. You can't make a pound cake and legally sell it to your neighbor unless you are in, a USDA inspected kitchen. You have to have, you legally can't. Now people probably do, but
so legally, all these bake sales, everybody's got to go to jail.
Pretty much. I mean, I think on that small scale, they don't do anything, but say you wanted to advertise, because I listened to his podcast and they were talking about this. His co-host on his podcast was saying she had a friend that made really good something, muffins or cookies or something. And she's like, she decided to sell them. So she put them on Facebook and that she was selling them, and they shut her down because legally can't do it. So now like a private bake sale or something probably is different, but these are people that like want to make a living selling things. You can't, I know there's a lot of farmers markets here where you can sell, but there's rules. I mean, there's state laws. One of the farmers markets I go to, the guy has got raw milk there. And I said, "You're selling raw milk?" And he says, "For pets only." So, but people
wink,
know.
Wink, nod, nod.
Yeah. But people are buying it from him like crazy because you don't have to buy the herd share then. Like we have a herd share with a dairy. So you own part of the cow and then we get our dairy or milk and yogurt every week. But he said, well, it's, it's for pet use only. So, you can get away with it that way. But, they're hard on the industries. They want to be hard. And, I think it's like, they don't want people to see the difference. They don't want people to see how much healthier are when you drink raw milk instead of the pasteurized, homogenized, or, BHT with the growth hormones and all that crap from the grocery store. They don't want people to see how much healthier pets are on a species appropriate raw diet, because then that would make all their foods look bad. And heaven forbid that we got them healthy and they don't have to go to the vet for all these drugs all the time. They might lose money. They just don't want that information to get out there. But I thought, that post, back to that post on the stones, it seemed kind of contradictory to me that they were on the one hand kind of calling out the fresh food industry, but then also calling out a specific synthetic ingredient added into it. Because I don't know, maybe is that in kibble diets? Is that in other diets besides it's just a synthetic? I don't even know why it's in there, but I thought that it was just an interesting like dichotomy, because it was kind of like, well, it's fresh food, but if you just avoid this one synthetic nutrient, then maybe, it would be okay. So they didn't talk about like, well, maybe they did mention raw in there. I can't remember.
I didn't see where it said it just said when you add that in,
Add that in.
right?
So
And that's why we say, look at your ingredient list. And I still it breaking the mindset is so incredibly hard. I don't work at it like I used to because I'm tired.
people do what they do.
I'm going to do it. I'm just like, does it make any sense to you? Have you evolved? Let me ask you, have you evolved to eat processed food? Do you feel better when you eat processed food? Do you have more energy? Do you have a glow about you? Do you have a six pack? Do you
Right.
feel less inflammation in your body? And of course, they're like, heck no. And I'm like, right. So tell me why that's better for your dog.
Right.
Well, the bacteria, okay. There are no real known cases of that. And if you even had a case where a vet said, this dog is suffering from salmonellosis, I don't really think that they could make a great case for it, right? They
Right.
couldn't say, here's the food, here's the poop, here's the this, and those go together. Right. So,
Right. It's never been proven. Never,
right.
ever been proven, but people will just take it on the propaganda because they get scared. But those
Yeah.
same people will line up for the vaccines too. So
And that's the thing. It's more than just food. Yes, it is, it is, that's the thing that we sell is food. But honestly, we've tried to educate for years and years and years. So it hasn't been just the food that we've educated on, but it is the whole thing, right? What is going into the body? What is the water? What is the stress level? What is the EMF level? What is the pesticide and herbicides, and all of it goes into it.
right.
But again, food is the one thing that is a constant. It is the thing that you have to grow, to sustain life. So if your belief is that cooked food with synthetic vitamins is a good diet over something that the creatures were created to eat, that's not something I can really battle.
No,
But
well, I think people, extrapolate anthropomorphize to, themselves. Well, this is the way I eat. I eat chicken and rice and veggies, so I'll just feed that to my dog. But
mhm.
we're not the same. I think people think their dogs are humans in dog suits, but they're really not. And I think we need to treat them like dogs. I mean, and in their lifestyle too, we need to acknowledge they're dogs. They're not humans, they're pack animals, and this, whole, emotional stress, the energetics of, there's a principle. I went to this one lecture. There's a part of anthroposophic medicine that, talks about the environment and culture. So in humans, anthroposophic medicine, they will, for therapy, they will do arts, they'll have people draw, they'll do music, they'll do things like that, that are healing. So we really need to think about what environment are our pets in, and part of treating the whole environment is treating the humans. So if the humans are not healthy, or the humans are stressed, and we all get stressors, life happens, but we just have to recognize that affects our pets too. So our pets are going to take that on, and people just need to, consider that is part of pet health. It's not just about any one thing. It's the whole package. But everybody has to feed their pets. I mean, people can decide not to do some of these other things, not to do vaccines or flea and tick or some of these other, but everybody has to feed their pet. So if you're going to feed them anyway, why not make it really count?
Right. And I know people that I know people, and they fed and they feed pills or prescription diet for the entire life of the dog, And I'm just like, dry, synthetic, low quality nutrition. It it just is so gross to me. I can't hardly stand it. But
Mm.
you see that that the veterinarians sell that, and we cannot seem to make the connection that they must not know what they're talking about in nutrition.
Mhm.
No, we say the people who have the dogs that are the healthiest must not know what they're talking about because they don't have the coats on.
Right.
And I'm just like,
One coat.
okay, your dog is not getting any better. And those vet bills are extremely expensive. And is there a possibility that you could try something else and see?
Right.
Not be so afraid. Not be so afraid of the boogeyman bacteria, right? We always have to have a boogeyman out there, and that will keep people from doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But man, we get some amazing testimonials about about dogs health. Gosh, we just got one that was amazing. I can't I should have had it. Let's see. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I don't think I can. I got too many texts. Do you know how you do that, Dr. Jasek? You got like 5 million texts that, and you're like,
I don't know as many people as you do, so I don't.
Okay, now.
Plus my work, I don't have any of my work stuff on my phone. So I can literally walk away from my computer and I have no work stuff, except that I'll tell, if my employees need to text me something urgent, they know they always can, but I don't have any contact. I don't have my business email, nothing. So I can walk away because I just sometimes need a break.
You do. Well, I'm going to give you a break because I'm going to read this real quick.
Okay.
All right. So this is from Kay, and she was reviewing the beef mix that we have. And here's what she said. She said, my TFT, I don't know what that is. My TFT, what is that? TFT, I don't know. But anyway, she said she loves her mealtime once again. For 6 years of Lucy's life, I was able to feed her various raw meats because I lived in areas where you could hunt. And 3 years ago, I moved to a very urban area. Absolutely no hunting here. And she said, I searched and spent a lot of money on high quality dog food, and her stomach was all out of whack. Blood in her stools, plus her poops were enormous. We just talked about that. And she said within 3 years, she gained 2.5 pounds. It may not sound like much, but she's a 5-pound toy fox terrier that grew to be 7.5 pounds.
That's your TFT. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. She looked like a football with legs. And she said, I knew all the dog food was killing her. And I continued to search to find a company like this and was so excited to finally find Raw Dog Food and Company. And I've been singing their praises of her new food to everyone around me, whether they want to hear it or not. She said, her stomach is balanced again. She's losing weight and she is so excited for mealtime. Her poops are now the size of a Tootsie Roll. Her poop is solid and firm. And this is important because she is so little that it's hard to excrete or express her anal glands. So she said firm poops do that for her. So no concerns of ruptured glands anymore. And I thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I believe you saved her life. Aww. If you are questioning about whether it's okay to feed your dog raw food, I beg you to try it. It's what they are supposed to eat. Their stomachs are different than ours. They don't need it cooked. And all those food toppers and extra things only ultimately kill them slowly. Please give Raw Dog Food and Company a try. And she said, I bet you'll write a review like mine.
Wow. Woohoo.
It's nice.
It's very nice. So nice. It's really cool when people take the time to write something like that, Yeah. People are busy and, it's really nice.
Yeah. And they left a little picture of our dog and we love that. On the reviews, we have a place where you can put a picture of your dog or you can do a video, and that's the thing that we love. We love to see the pets. So that's why we do what we do. That's why you do what you do, because people love their pets and they love to see them healthy. And I think it just, you got to have the courage to do it. I know here on the podcast, we we're talking to the people that are already feeding raw. But if you guys can leave a review or tell us how you talk to people about raw food and what their fears are, and we'll tell you how to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah. People are afraid, but they're afraid because of the stinking vets. So quit going to the vet. There you go.
There you go. But if you want to see a vet, that's not a stinking vet, that's a good vet. You can see Dr. Jasek and her team at ahavet.com, ahavet.com, because she is truly a holistic vet. You're not going to get kibble. You're not going to get all of those toxins put in your dog. So if you want a healthier way to take care of your pet, you want to go over to ahavet.com. And remember, get your dog on a species. That means a food that they were created to eat. Get over to rawdogfoodandcompany.com. Brian will help you. I know we have a lot of products. We try to take them away, but then people come after us. So we have a lot of products, but we will help you get the ones that you can get started on. So get over to rawdogfoodandcompany.com, where your pet's health is our business. And what, Dr. Jasek?
Or friends, don't let friends feed kibble, y'all.
That's right. We'll see you soon, everybody. Bye.
Bye.